Hello, welcome here for the presentation about universal properties for Salesforce solution. To begin with, the overview about the project. So, Universal Properties manages apartments across the large metropolitans. They have 50 branches across Europe and 10 in the United States. They manage 200,000 apartments at this point of time, and they're planning to expand their business across Canada and other regions. They are expecting doubling their business in next year, and they are right now serving 300,000 private customers. They are aiming to digitize their business through Salesforce. As part of this project, I found some risk, and few of them are listed here. So they have separate IT teams across geography, which will be a big risk for this project, whereas we can mitigate it using our governance model. They have limited test environments, which we will be dealing through mocks and stubs, and we will also try to onboard the plan very early with all the stakeholders to mitigate this issue. Manual testing is another big risk, which we can mitigate through CI/CD and automation testing. And also I'm going to propose mobile publisher here. Mobile publisher has its own life cycle to implement and also to make it live. Hence, we have a stringent target of 6 months. We have to act fast to get it done through Salesforce and the platforms of app. As far as the assumptions are concerned, there are a couple of assumptions which I find is important to be addressed right now. I am expecting there is no budget constraint and there is no data regulations for CRM specific functionalities, whereas there are some regulations about billing which we have considered, and billing system will remain against the data regulations, and as per the regions it will be resting. Now coming on to the org strategy, my org strategy will be the single org, and we will be using unlimited edition for this particular project. As this project is this customer base for this universal properties customer base is across the Europe and US region, and hence we will be using multi-currency and multilingual as well, and multilingual will be helped through translation workbench, custom labels, builders and templates for email and contracts. Coming on to the actor analysis, we saw that there are letting representatives which are going to be
Don't forget to start timer.
letting representatives will be our internal users, and they will be using sales and service licenses. Their login will be through AD. The reason why they are using sales and service are because they will be using leads, opportunity, quotation and cases. Letting manager will be using Sales Cloud license. They will be working mostly on opportunity and quotations. The director will be using Sales Cloud as well as CRM Analytics licenses. They have a requirement about reports which are coming from another system. Hence, we will be using CRM Analytics for that purpose. Tenant manager will be using Service Cloud license. They will be working mostly on the work orders. Contractors will be our partners, and they will be using the case and work orders. They will be logging through Salesforce directly, and all these other internal users will be using AD, and through IDP they will be connecting to Salesforce. Landlords will be using customer community, and they will be using Salesforce. Primary tenants will be using customer community plus, and they will again be using Salesforce. Secondary customer contacts will be using customer community, and they will be using OIDC through social signing. Coming onto the role hierarchy, CEO will be our global head, and it will have visibility of all the data in the CRM system. Country heads will be specific to the countries, and then followed by directors, which will have team of letting managers. Letting managers will have letting reps and tenant managers as their two different nodes. Tenant manager will work closely with contractors and primary tenants. We have landlords as a separate node because landlords will not be reporting to anyone, and they can be associated. Their assets are going to be associated with one of these roles, so they will be mostly only viewing the report. So hence they were like very isolated role. With this, let's go to the system architecture. We will be using API based integration in this entire architecture, and for that we will be using ESB and ETL. ESB will be utilized for our near time and near real time integrations. It will help us to do orchestration, prototype conversion, and handling the errors and retire mechanisms. ETL will be used for our bulk data transactions and also for our data migrations. Both of ETL and ESB will be integrated through with Salesforce through network security of MTLS, and JOT protocol will be used for the authentication. Coming on to the Salesforce, Salesforce will be our heart of the application enterprise architecture, and Salesforce will be powered through Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Experience Cloud, and CRM Analytics as an add-on license. In Service Cloud, we will be using Salesforce OS. Experience Cloud will have both customer portal and partner portal. We will use Form Assembly as our App Exchange product, SDoc and SSign for our another App Exchange product. Yeah, so Form Assembly and SDoc and SSign will be our App Exchange product. Form Assembly will be used for lead collection, and SDoc and SSign for document generation and e-signing. We will be using, as part of our mobile strategy, we will be using Salesforce app for our internal users, and they will be login in Salesforce app using user agent flow. Mobile publisher will be utilized for our secondary customers, and primary customers, they can use mobile publisher using OIDC and leverage the data in Salesforce. Coming on to the external systems, public website will be there and it will not be decommissioned. Using the REST API, it will integrate through Form Assembly and push the leads. We will have credit check system, which will again be integrated through ESB to Salesforce. Then we will have a property aggregator website, which will again be integrated through ESB to Salesforce. Then billing, and then my proposal is to use enterprise data warehouse, as I did not see any data warehouse available at this point of a time. We will be dealing with some data and we are planning to expand very largely. Hence, we will be using data warehouse for our archiving strategy going forward. Knowledge app will be decommissioned and we will push all the knowledge app related articles into Salesforce. CRM, 4 CRMs will be decommissioned and it will all the functionality will be replicated in Salesforce. We have an AD already in place, as I have not seen any IDP mentioned, so I will be proposing to use Okta. It will help us to commission and decommission the users centrally. SCIM protocol will be used to commission or decommission users, whereas SAML will be used for the login purpose. Social media will be there, Facebook and Google namely. Users will be able to utilize social media credentials to log in into Salesforce using social sign-in. So that's about the system architecture. Let's move to the ERD. I will briefly go through the ERD and then walk you through with the business process. There it will have more context. So lead will be there. Lead will be pushed as account contact and opportunity to us. We will have event and task, which will manage the work related to the leads, and account and contact, because there will be a lot of accounts which are going to be utilized in the property as tenant or as guarantor. We will be using ACR, account contact role. Sales contract will be used for the contract generation and contract management. Opportunity will be used to track the life cycle of the sale. OCR will be used to manage that which opportunity belongs, which contact is associated with the opportunity in which manner. Quotation will be utilized for the negotiation. Work order will be utilized for the task specific activities. We will use price book entry and products to manage the prices and the multi-currency through multi-currency, as well as the market specific data. For the assets will be having the property as such, and also every management related to the this is something which I missed, so I will utilize this time to do it. So asset will be there to manage the work orders if there is any fault or anything on the particular asset of the property. Now, we will also have case for managing the incidents. There are two custom objects which I will be using. One is for feedback when the lead is going through nurturing. There are feedbacks which can be provided, and we will use this object to capture it. And then payment schedule, when the opportunity is closed, there will be payments schedule generated, and that will be visible to all the tenants. So hence we will utilize this custom object for that purpose. That's about the ERD. With that, I would like to move to business process requirements. First business process is our inquiry process, where the prospects can come through any different channels. First one is the walk-ins. If the walk-in happens, then I'm expecting the letting rep to add the lead in Salesforce directly and manually. Then the next way is through phone calls or phone calls which are published in the website, and the requirement here is to route it to the right letting rep based on the location and language. So for that, I will be proposing Salesforce voice. The IVR should be set up in the Amazon side, where the input should be put in by the caller, which will help us to do the omni-channel routing. We will have location-based queue and language-based skill, which will route to the right letting rep based on the availability. Now, inquiry can be done on the website. So for that, we will have Web2 form. The problem here is 20,000 prospective customers, which make us go to an app exchange product. I have considered Web2 lead, but the limit is 500 per day. So and with that, if it is less than 15,000, then we can think of Web2 lead. At this point of a time, the limit is quite high. Hence, I would be proposing form assembly to integrate the form into the website, which will push the leads into Salesforce. Once the lead falls in Salesforce, we can use lead assignment rule based on the location, and an email can go to the letting rep to inform that they can begin a call, or they can follow up with this customer using call, and they can utilize Salesforce voice for that purpose. Now, coming on to the next way by which the inquiries can fall in, the property aggregator website can push some of the leads into Salesforce, and the only challenge here is that it can be multiple requests for the same person. Hence, we need to have some linking procedure to handle it within Salesforce. For that, I would be proposing our integration number 1, which will be from property aggregator website to ESB to Salesforce. It will be using remote call in pattern. I propose to use a REST API, custom REST API in this case, because we need to have duplicate check within the Salesforce. I am expecting a duplicate check based on the property of the data we get. It could be name, phone number, email ID, and that is something which can be easily checked within the custom REST API, and we can generate lead based on it, right? There is not much information provided, so I am expecting that the lead will come and sit in Salesforce. We can have the duplicate check on the lead, and we can associate lead to lead or probably delete it, right? So we have both the options open. There is no probability here to have it linked or not linked. As such, they are saying linked, but I can also think of taking the data and marking it as, or probably I'll just change it here. I'll use to link it. So lead to lead, I will have one self lookup. This is what I will propose here. So this will solve it, and that logic I can keep it in the flow. And I'm expecting ESB to manage the error handling and retire mechanism for this particular integration. Now coming on the pick by now, letting rep should follow up on this. They will pick the detail from the list of the leads coming in by their branch, and I am expecting this to be a manual process. They can pick it using the list view. And then pre-qualify the prospective customer by checking by answering the number of questions. So in this case, I am expecting them to have questionnaires on the lead page layout itself, and the fields within the leads can be created based on the questionnaires, and we can get that information from the customers. And once the letting rep is satisfied, they can mark the status as prospective customers can be pre-qualified. Now, with the pre-qualification, we can go to the search a profile for the client. So profile criteria. So this is something which is like we need to figure out which asset is matching the customer's need or prospective customer's need, and system should automatically suggest. For this, I would say that fields on lead will be utilized, and we can use a custom action in lead, which will show matching information, right, coming from the products, and an LWC which will have SOQL data will be fed from the conditions can be fed from the fields, right, and LWC will show the matching products to the letting rep, right. And here letting rep can get an understanding that which all product they have available for their properties are available for their particular customer. And then they can contact the customer via email or call, and they can recommend how to schedule. So at this point of time, I am proposing to use event calendar and tasks. So if they want to call or email, they can create a task for it, and event calendar will help them to manage the calls if they want to. If it is email, then they can create the task, and then they can continue with the tracking of the work. Here I also considered Einstein activity capture, but I think it's not needed at this point of a time because we are not doing any intelligence based on the information coming from the customer. It's a plain call to the customer, and recommendations we are already handling using LWC. So hence I have gone against the EAC. During the viewing, letting rep shows the prospect around one or many apartments, and reps are expected to capture viewing feedback. And that's the reason I have feedback object here, which will capture the feedback against each product shown to the lead. So now if the on one of the product, if customer is like happy and they want to make a deal, the lead will be converted into account and contact and opportunity. So in this case, it will be person, account, and then opportunity. Now with this, we move to the deal and contracting process. Here, the deal includes the upfront cost. Creation of the deal will be flagged as reserved. So what is happening here is we are creating opportunity, and we will be marking the product as reserved by the letting rep. Right. So once they agree on which product they want to go with, so product will become opportunity line item for that particular opportunity, and product will be marked as reserved, and it will not be visible for the other opportunities. Now there will be a provision to adding additional services, and optional services will be differing apartment by apartment. So for that, I would like to propose a logic which will define this right within Salesforce, and this will be through Apex or Flow, but opportunity line item will be created for this particular cases. So additional optional services should be a product, right, which will come to line items, but which is applicable to which building is something which will be associated against the product. So product to product hierarchy will be there for the apartment to apartment to additional optional services, and this data will come here. And please disregard the comment for logic. There will not be any, the logic needed, just the hierarchical product will be able to handle it. Then the documents will be captured, so it can be against the contact. So letting rep will be adding these documents. I'm expecting this document will be shared over email by the customer, and they can add this the documents in Salesforce itself. We will use content document for the documents, and once this document is added, then the letting rep can mark the status of opportunity as credit check to be begin, right? So with this, credit check will start. Now for the credit check, we have some dependency on credit check system. It may inform immediately or it may take up to 3 days, and there are some countries where the credit check has to be done manually and there is no provision to do it automatically. For that case, I will be using custom metadata to figure out which countries has the applicability to do it automatically. For that country, we will have record triggered flow, which will check the credit card applicable or not, and if yes, then there will be an external service which will be configured, and that will be sending accomplishing our integration number 2A, Salesforce to ESB to credit check system, using remote process invocation, reply and request pattern, and this will be using REST. We expect the reply at least as hold if in case it is waiting, right? And whatever is the reply, it will immediately update the opportunity status. Now, if manual check is required, right, rep will have to contact the provider via phone and track the progress in the system and capture the result manually. So there are two things now. Either the opportunity is waiting for credit check, or it has to be done manually. Now, if it is waiting, then I am proposing the integration 2B, which will be ESB to credit check to ESB back to Salesforce. So ESB should be able to run a daily job to credit check system, and once they get the reply, they should inform Salesforce with the data. So when we send the information there, and if it comes as hold, then ESB should be able to capture that information as a queue and keep hitting credit system on a daily basis to get us the reply. And this reply will come in Salesforce using remote call-in pattern and through REST, right? And if it is manual, and like I'm expecting that in case in 3 days it's not even in 3 days it's not coming, then ESB will inform it as that credit check has to be done manually, right? Or for the countries, the credit check has to be done manually. For that, there will be a task created, record triggered flow task will be created, where the owner will be letting rep to do it manually. And manual checking of credit check will be outside system as informed here through phone. But to call them, there will be a task. Now, with this, there will be a problem that in case the credit score gets failed, credit check gets failed, the tenant can put a guarantor in his place to do the credit check, right? So at this point of a time, I propose to add guarantor as OCR here because it's working on opportunity. So OCR will be added as a guarantor, and the same process will begin for the OCR, right? So now once the Once the credit check gets passed, there will be a agreement which has to be done for the rental payment. So here I am expecting SDoc to generate the document and send for e-signing. So I think I covered this one already. So once the guarantor is added, the status of opportunity becomes CC begin and the process can restart with guarantor. So counter offer can be made for the rents, and if the counter offer is something which is captured in CRM, that has to be going through an approval. So for that purpose, I am expecting it to be captured as quotation, as there will be a negotiation. So there could be multiple quotations on an opportunity, and quotation will go through an approval process by the letting manager. Now the contract document has to be signed online at this point of a time. So SDoc will generate the document, and record triggered flow will associate this SDoc against the opportunity. The reason being, SDoc will be created against the quote because we have been negotiating on quote, and quote line item will have the prices, but quote is not visible to the primary contract or the secondary contract. Hence, we need to association has to change for this document from quotation to opportunity, not opportunity, associate with account. So if we do that, then the problem, the tenant can view the document. With this, the payment request should be sent from billing system automatically. To be sent from billing, the customer to pay for upfront deposit. Sent from. I think this should be 2. I read it as 2 because Salesforce is the system. The billing system does not know how to when to send it. Hence, I am expecting it to be sending from Salesforce. So there will be a record triggered flow. As soon as the document is signed, the opportunity status will become signed, and there will be a platform event fired. The platform event will initiate our integration number 3, which will be Salesforce to ESB to billing, and we will use fire and forget pattern, where platform event will be publishing the opportunity ID to ESB. ESB will be reading the data through Salesforce connector and then doing the protocol conversion to REST API for the billing. Now here, once the payment is completed, it will be reflected on the deal. In this case, I am expecting data coming back from billing. So integration number 4, from billing to ESB to Salesforce. Here, remote call in integration pattern will be utilized. We will be using a REST API for it to update the opportunity as payment completed. Now, the negative scenario where the payment is not done for the 7 days before the contract start date, within the 7 days, then for that case, we will have a condition where contract date start date is today and status is not signed, or like contract date is today -7 in fact, right, and not signed. Then we will have schedule triggered flow, which will create a chatter post for our letting rep to inform that this is this particular opportunity needs some attention, and task will be created with the owner being letting rep. Now once paid, the deal will become closed and won. Here I am expecting opportunity to be closed, and then rental contract shall be created, list of upcoming payments should be there, facility manager will start the handover process. Now opportunity will be closed, record triggered flow will mark the start to end date, and it will be a monthly payment schedule object which will create the detailed record for per month, right? Sales contract will be generated using XDoc and will be stored on content doc. Then there will be a task which will be having predefined details from custom metadata will be created, and it will be assigned to facility manager. Then I am expecting this particular record triggered flow to publish a platform event. From the platform event, we will create an asset. Asset is nothing but the replica of product here, and there will be a landlord associated with this asset. Now, some of the tenants are moving from abroad. They will need some guidance, and there will be rich media created by external agencies. So I'm expecting the logic to identify the account address and product address if abroad movement has to be there in Salesforce, which will generate email template, right? And the predefined URL of rich media can be stored in custom metadata, and that will be coming into sales email template using the country wise or language wise content. And this external agencies can keep the data in their end, and there is no, I think though there is no requirement here that this media should be in Salesforce. Hence I'm expecting there is a centralized place such as YouTube or something where they have these details and it can be accessed using URL. Now coming to the tenancy process. Now the tenancy will begin and they will be having access through portal. They can add secondary contacts, and secondary contract could be how shareholder or the guarantor. So they will have the access. Primary tenant will have the access using the customer portal, and they can add contacts, associate their own person account, and then keep on adding the contact type in the ACR. Under the contact. So they will have, they can keep on adding contacts, and there will be record triggered flow which will add this contacts into ACR object. Secondary contract should have the option to self-register using Facebook and Google, and they will have automatic access to the contract. So as I explained in the system architecture, social sign-in will be enabled. We will use registration handler to create users, and the logic will be there, which will be identified through email, phone, and name to add to the right contract. So tenant should be able to raise cases, so they will be allowed to raise cases from the portal. They should be able to see the payment schedule. Payment schedule associated with the person account. So we will use sharing set where payment of account for the user of the account will be visible. The knowledge article about an apartment should be available in the community or on external system 5. So I'm not considering external number 5 at all. I'm moving all the knowledge articles into Salesforce Service Cloud, and it will be exposed through topics in the portal. Now coming on to the flexibility of including, excluding of optional extras, uplift the rent. So when the opportunity is going to the end date, less than 3 months, there will be new opportunity created, and that will be with the price change of product. Product will be the price book entry will be the area where they can be managed with the uplifting of the prices, and that will be as reflecting in the new opportunity, right? And opportunity will be editable by the letting rep to manage the prices if there is any. So coming into the facility management process, the tenant manager schedule an appointment. They can create an appointment via phone or email, right? So once the opportunity is closed, they can assign tenant manager get assigned to it, and so account manager letting rep can change the account ownership to the tenant manager, right? And they can have an appointment through events. Checklist for common handover activities. So again, a custom action will be there on opportunity, which will be referring a custom metadata, and that will create work order, and this will be through flow. Any optional services which might need coordination, and company management need some coordination on that. Like company managing the property, it means contractors. So work order and work order line item will be there for the facility managers to manage it, and then they can manage it through the they can also share it with the contractors. As part of the handover, we'll go through the list of inventory and household items. So I'm expecting that they will go through the list of the items in asset. When we are creating, we are also ensuring that all the asset of that particular apartments are added here. In case something is missed, the asset can be added by the facility manager or tenant manager. Damage needs to be recorded again. So asset will have status field which will be having all the status, whether it's damage or not damage. The tenant has to sign a handover protocol with the managers in iPad. So this will be actually a document which will be generated, and it will be signed by the tenant on the iPad, and that is possible using SDoc. And I would like to keep it like this. And this information will be against the, yep. So tenant raises a maintenance request. The tenant manager responsible for property should be informed. So I'm expecting it to be a case creation, and they can associate the asset with the case, and there will be a record triggered flow which will be creating a chatter and associating the tenant manager with it. Then property manager, management company will inform for any concerns. The primary contact for the property should automatically be added for those contacts. So there will be a lookup of primary contact for the type of cases, right? So there are different kind of cases. For the cases, the primary contact can be associated by the property manager, property management company. Now coming on to the maintaining request concerning the apartment itself should be assigned to respective contractors. So owner can be the contractor directly for the cases. Depending on the severity of the cases, there will be SLA, and it will be escalated to the letting manager. So here I was thinking to use entitlements, but I do not see the need of entitlement, because the severity is on case level and there is no account level tiering SLA we need. Hence I will be going with the case escalation rule at this point of a time, and case escalation rule can be easily managed through the severity of the cases. With that, let's move on to the data migration informations. So we will be using CRM, billing and knowledge as our input. Through ETL, we will move our data to SIT, UAT and production, and our data warehouse as well. SIT will have 20% of capacity, UAT will have 100%, production will also be having 100%. So from CRM, we will get tenant, lead, cases and assets. From billing, we will get tenant and payment data. From knowledge, we will get the articles. In ETL, we will have scripts. We will have a staging table as well as canonical tables. In ETL, we will do extract, cleans, dedupe, matching, enrichment and loading. And to load on Salesforce, first we will have to ensure that we are deactivating trigger, validation rules, sharing rules, and we will enable the granular locking. And once loading is done, we will reset those. The sequence in which we will load data is users to account, then the contacts, leads, opportunity code, followed by order and assets, and then payment schedule, cases and knowledge will be the last elements which we will be loading. With this, I covered almost all of the requirements here, and we can see that there are requirements to load 3 years or 5 years of data, but all of the historical data will go to data warehouse so that we can report it if needed. With that, let's move to the accessibility and visibility requirements. The letting rep will have to be having information about all the leads in their branch. So we will create 60 owner-based sharing rules on the lead, and it will be on the read capacity, so that letting rep only can see that, not edit it. Then the next is the deal and contracting process. Only the manager director should be able to see. So if it is going to be owned by letting reps, so they will be able to, these guys will be able to see it. As it is private, so it's taken care of through the role hierarchy. The letting rep need the option to extend access of the deal to other reps that might assist. Here I will be proposing to utilize opportunity teams if someone wants to open the accessibility for the opportunity on collaboration side. After the deal has been closed on, the deal contract should be visible across the company. So for that, I would be like to using criteria based sharing. On opportunity status being closed, it can be shared with everyone, right? So it can be shared with country head and then subordinates of country. That will be sufficing it. Then the manager and director need to see a list of historical and future payments for contract. So I am here expecting CRM analytics so that we can get the payment data from billing system and show it. Primary tenant need to see historical and future payment. So historical and future payment also includes data which are not in Salesforce. Hence, I will be using LWC and pulling data from the enterprise data warehouse to show it to the tenant, primary tenant. Now the secondary contact should be able to log in through Facebook or Google, and that is can be achieved using social sign-in. Contractor need the option to view the updated maintenance case. So cases will be available for the through the list view for the contractors. Now reporting requirements, landlord are interested in current occupancy, so they can use it using LWC. We will be leveraging that for them to see their data, and we will keep all this information in our ACR and OCR. Here the landlords will be associated so that we can show it. Letting manager are interested in history of occupancy. So CRM analytics will help us get the trending data, branch by or month by and all those. So this is possible using CRMA. A report of outstanding maintenance cases by building that are to be picked up by the contracting third party. So I am expecting here to be having a standard report on case and group by contractor company. Then again, manager need to report on late payment by tenant. Manager payment schedule will be there and will track whether the payment has been done on the due date or not. Hence, it will be a standard report using group by contractor company. It will be no, not by company, by tenant. Sorry, so it will be through tenant. With that, let's move to project and deployment. Here, both this new CRM and external have the support. So we will use multilingual. I covered it already. There are 4 CRM teams for which we will be needing a strong governance team model. Here I am proposing executive board having C-level sponsors, steering committee, CIO and product directors, architectural review board which will have a chairman or the different kind of architects there, COE which will have chairman, and SMEs, PMO which will have PM leads and program owners, data team which will have data steward, data custodian, business owners, scrum team which will have developer, BA testers, integration team members, product owners, and scrum masters, CM, change management team where change champions and change managers will be part of it, release management team which will have environment manager and deployment management expert. I am expecting the training to be given to all the old CRM team members to enhance their skills on Salesforce, and they can be able to help it. This governance team will take care of it. The IT team has only one environment of test. So we will use mock and stuff. Mock for the web services testing, and stuff for the testing of the static data coming for both positive and negative scenarios. And we can have different plans. We will have plans to onboard them. We will have CI/CD process which will ensure that the bugs are not replicating in production. We will also have hotfix in case there is any business critical bugs in the hotfix. Hotfix will be utilized to fix it. And deploy in production fast. There will be a pilot in UK for 6 months. So we will expect to have a MVP-led project where template-based approach will be used, where the localization can be taken care of later, and requirement workshop should happen. So my proposal is to have 6-month roadmap for hybrid and workflow agile methodology. Scope will be UK plus template in MVP. Workshop should be conducted where we can take the template requirement and we can analyze using Moscow methodology. RACI metrics and traceability metrics should be managed by PMO in Jira. Scrum should be of 3 weeks sprint. Quickly coming into the environments, we will have dev, integration, SIT, UAT, and production. Dev box, dev pro box, partial box, full box will be utilized for it. Then dev will be utilized for the build and unit test. Apex test will also happen on dev. Developers will be utilizing it. Integration box will be used by CI. For CI, pull request, static code review, regression testing will be happening, and unit test will be happening here. Partial box will be used by SIT, where system and integration test will happen. Demos will be given to the POs. Tester, VA, and PO will be the actors, will be performing this. Full box will be utilized for UAT, user testing, data load testing, performance testing will be happening here. Business user will be the main stakeholders in this particular box. Hotfix will be the scratch box, scratch org, where critical fix will be done and testing will be done by developer and testers. Production will be used for sanity and smoke testing, and super users will be using it. We will use VS Code for code development, Selenium for static code regression testing, SonarQube for static code check, and Git for the check-in, check-out, GitHub for the repository management, GitHub Action for the pipelines, Load Runner for the load testing, Jira for the project management, Confluence for the document management. Branching will be through master. Master will be the main branch. Feature will be the branch will be owned by developers. Then lead will own the develop branch. Release branch will be owned by the release management team, having a gatekeeping process so that nothing uncould move to master branch. Hotfix will be there, which will be again release management, and dev team will developers will own it to ensure that what goes on to the production. Once the hotfix is ready, it will also get merged to the develop branch, so that feature branch, which will be utilized by the developers to check the latest code base. And thank you very much for this particular opportunity for me to present to you the universal properties.